Hello, guys. Welcome to another exciting episode on Pious Football, where we bring you the latest in transfer news. We do a tactical analysis of games, and also we talk about pertinent issues around football that you don't hear on mainstream European media. Now, today's episode is going to be jam-packed. It's the weekend, so I'm going to bring you a lot of transfer stories that you are going to hear on various sporting sites across the globe. So you're going to hear it here first. So stay tuned and let's just go right in. My first story for today, it's at the camp of Liverpool. The news coming in is that Liverpool submitted a third offer for ROMEO LAVIA. Remember, I told you in my previous episode that Liverpool are looking to replace Jordan Henderson and Fabinho, who recently departed. So, ROMEO LAVIA is the obvious choice that they have settled on, and they have had two bids rejected for ROMEO LAVIA already from by Southampton. And now the news coming in as of Friday morning was that ROMEO LAVIA, third bid has gone in, rumored to be around 45 million pounds plus 5 million in add-ons. Now, remember I told you that Southampton are looking to get somewhere around 50 million pounds. He has a release clause, a buyout clause of 40 million pounds that can only be activated for next year. But if Liverpool want to sign him this season, then they have to pay the 50 million pounds that Southampton are looking for. Remember, Southampton have always maintained that they want 50 million pounds. So currently, Liverpool are getting very close to getting the 50 million pound mark. They have submitted a 45 million pound bid plus 5 million in add-ons. Now, it is thought that this bid might be enough to allow Southampton to ease their restrictions around Lavia's move to Liverpool. Now, also the player has agreed personal terms already with Liverpool, 5-year contract. He wants to join Liverpool. He loves the project, like I said in my previous episode. And so, let's see how the move will materialize. The clubs, are talking, trying to trash out a deal. So maybe by Monday morning, we will hear good news surrounding ROMEO LAVIA to Liverpool. So let's fingers crossed for that deal. Now, exciting talent. So, let's see what will happen. Also, at the camp of Malcolm, remember Malcolm was a player who a Brazilian winger. He used to play for Barcelona, and he had a bit of unsuccessful spell at the Catalonia, and so he was sold to Zenit St. Petersburg in Russia. Now currently, the Saudi Pro League is actively recruiting players into their league, and now Malcolm is the latest name to join the club called Al Hilal. Remember, Al Hilal already have signed some top players already. Now they've added Malcolm to the host of top quality players they have brought from Europe. Now Malcolm signed a 5-year deal worth around 60 million euros. They paid 60 million euros to Zenit St. Petersburg for Malcolm. So that's an interesting deal right there. Also at the camp of Manchester United, some sort of outgoings are being worked on. Remember our goalkeeper Dean Henderson, currently a loan move to Nottingham Forest plus an obligation to buy for around 25 million pounds is being discussed currently, and then hopefully the goalkeeper will leave. But if he leaves, United would have to find a replacement. Also at the camp of Donny van der Beek, it just came in late this Friday afternoon that a bid of around 23 million euros is being discussed with Real Sociedad. Remember, Real Sociedad did very well last season and they qualified for the Champions League. So they'll be playing the Champions League. So they are trying to get some top quality players with experience to join their ranks. And they have settled on Donny van der Beek. Now, currently, the two clubs are discussing terms of the agreement or seal. Would it be a permanent seal? Is it going to be a loan plus option to buy? Is it going to be a loan plus obligation to buy, or is it going to be a straight out permanent deal? Now the two clubs are still talking, but United have mentioned somewhere around 23 million euros to release Donny van der Beek. So hopefully once the price has been set, it means that an obligation to buy or an option to buy is being touted by United. So let's see how that deal will materialize. And remember, United are currently working on a striker. So I mean, if they sell, they are looking to sell some midfielders to try and fund Amrabat. Not necessarily because they don't have the money, but they are trying to create space for their wage bill, to maintain that a decent wage bill going forward. So if they sell a few of their midfielders, then maybe a sale for Amrabat would be sanctioned. So fingers crossed for Van der Beek going to Real Sociedad. Remember, the player came in for around 40 million euros from Ajax. He was expected to have a very successful career at Manchester United, but unfortunately injuries and inconsistent performances have scooped his career at the club. So I mean, we have incurred losses right there, but it's good for the career of the player that he goes to the Real Sociedad. They are playing the Champions League, so it's all good for him. Also, United have rejected an offer from West Ham for Harry Maguire. Maguire, is currently being one of the names that United have put on the list of players that they want to sell. He's now a fourth choice centre back. So Erik ten Hag is trying to move him on, but the player has said that he doesn't want to go. However, the £20 million offer that West Ham made was immediately turned down by Manchester United. You remember, United bought him for a world record £85 million from Leicester City in the summer of 2019. Sorry. So I mean, it's kind of a bit unfortunate for Harry Maguire right there. That he's still, at a club that don't want him, but he's still, trying to fight for his place. Now, he prefers to stay at Manchester United. He himself doesn't want to go to West Ham. He feels that West Ham is not a big club. And so, I mean, he wants to stay and fight for his place. So, £20 million bid from West Ham has been rejected by Manchester United. They are looking to get somewhere around £40 million for him. Remember, they put a price tag of £50 million. They realized that no club will pay that amount at the moment, so they reduced the price to £40 million, and that's where they are at. If you don't bring £40 million or maybe £30 million plus add-ons for Maguire, he's not going to go anywhere. So it's looking likely that unless a serious club bid some serious money for Maguire, he's not going anywhere. Also, at the camp of Manchester United, a lot of things happening at Manchester United currently. Rasmus HOJLUND, I mean, the name that every United fan wants to hear. Rasmus HOJLUND, the Danish 20-year-old playing for Atlanta, a subject of interest for both Manchester United and PSG. I spoke about those deals extensively in my previous episode. Now, the news coming in, which is exciting for Manchester United fans, is that a bid of around 60 million euros plus add-ons, making up a total package of 70 million pounds. 70 million euros, sorry, have been submitted, for HOJLUND. Now, remember, Atlanta wanted 100 million, but they, soon got the message that United or any other club wasn't going to pay that stupid money. So they sort of reduced their asking price to somewhere around 70 million pounds. So United initially, they submitted a 50 million euro bid, which was turned down, but now they have submitted 60 million euros plus add-ons, and it is believed that this price would actually be enough to loosen the grip of Atlanta's hold on HOJLUND, so that the player will be allowed to leave. Now, the clubs are locked in negotiations. Mind you, the player has already agreed personal terms with Manchester United. He is a boyhood United fan, like I have always said. He maintains that he wants to play for Manchester United. There is interest from PSG, but at the moment the player is only focused on United. So let's see if the deal will be done. We are hoping as United fans to hear good news, maybe by Monday morning or Monday late afternoon, that HOJLUND to Manchester United is almost done, and we are almost close to a complete agreement between the two clubs. So fingers crossed for Rasmus HOJLUND to Manchester United. Another deal that has shocked many people is Osimhen renewing his contract with Napoli. Now, he hasn't done that yet, but there are talks about contract renewal. That is the news I am getting from Napoli at the moment. news coming from Italian sources is that Osimhen is currently his agent is in Naples to try and negotiate for a contract renewal with Olerio De Laurentiis, the Napoli president. Right now, the player wanted to move, but the president put a very heavy price tag of 175, almost 200 million euros on his head, which priced him out of the market. So a lot of clubs are not looking to sign Osimhen at the moment. And right now, the news coming in is that Napoli want to offer Osimhen improved terms, pay him more money, and then put in a buyout clause of 150 million euros for the player for next year onwards. So, I mean, if he signs the contract, which will be to up to 2026, plus an option for a 1 year, which will take him to 2027. Currently, this deal runs up to 2025. Now he's going to extend it to 2026 with an option for another year, and then put in a 150 million euro buyout clause for next year. So, I mean, interesting turn of events right there for Victor Osimhen. To me personally, I think the buyout clause is a bit too much. Still on the high side. It means you have to pay somewhere around 120 million pounds to sign Victor Osimhen. So I don't know which club will be willing to do that at the moment. So let's see. Maybe PSG will, cough out that money next year. But as things stand now, it looks like Osimhen is going to stay at Naples, and he's going to play there. So let's move on. Also, at the camp of Manchester United and the seal of the club, I have not brought you a lot of information about this because currently negotiations between the two main bidders have stalled. Sheikh Jassim and also the Ineos owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who are bidding to buy Manchester United from the Glazers. Now, the news coming in is that David Beckham is trying to team up with Sheikh Jassim to sort of add some sort of more legitimacy to the transfer, to the seal of the club. Now, the two bidders currently have bids in short of the 6 billion valuation that the Glazers are looking for. So right now, it's like a standstill. The Glazers want 6 billion. None of the bidders are interested in paying that amount of money because they feel it is over the top. United is an attractive global asset, but they don't feel that currently our club is worth 6 billion. Now, remember that a financial magazine came out with the true value of United with somewhere around 3.5 to 4 billion US dollars. So, I mean, if you are, Sheikh Jassim, who is interested in buying the club, and you look at 6 billion valuation, and you're talking about 6 billion pounds here, which is a lot of money in dollars. So, I mean, right now, none of the bidders are willing to pay that money. But, I mean, it is felt that David Beckham, being a legend, when he joins up with Sheikh Jassim, and, maybe they'll up their bid a little bit more, because it is thought that Jassim's bid was around 4.5 billion. Maybe if they adjust it to somewhere around 5 billion plus a David Beckham consortium, I mean, Beckham coming in means that more money, and so maybe 5 billion valuation, will be enough to push the Glazers to, finally sell the club. And he, in an interview with the Athletic, Beckham, made that, my thoughts clear, that he said that, it is time for the Glazers to sell, and he believes that a 5 billion pound valuation, if an offer is made of 5 billion, I mean, he believes that his, connections, his name and his financial, boost to Sheikh Jassim might actually push the Glazers to finally sell the club. So let's see if that collaboration is going to work, if it's going to work, and if it's going to finally convince the Glazers to sell the club. Mind you, the fans are dying to hear that the club has finally been sold, because they feel that the Glazers have not really invested a lot in the club. They feel that they've taken a lot of dividends, a lot of cash out of the club. They have not invested in club infrastructure. And so let's see what happens with that. Also, at the camp of Barcelona, the good, I don't know if it's good news, but I mean, Barca need money. So if a team comes to, make an offer for a player, I mean, it should be good news. But I don't know if Barca are willing to lose Ousmane Dembele at the moment. The news coming in is that PSG, trying to face the reality of losing Kylian Mbappe, trying to buy Ousmane Dembele. Now, remember, Ousmane Dembele, he signed a recent contract last year with Barcelona, and in the contract, he put in a clause that says that he can leave for a 50 million euro. If a club pays 50 million euros for him before 1st of August of 2023, he should be allowed to leave. Now, this is the clause that PSG are willing to activate. Now, mind you, by Monday morning, by 6 a.m. on Monday morning, that clause becomes inactive, and his buyout clause will double and revert to 100 million euros. So PSG will need to act quick. It is thought that Dembele is not really too keen on the PSG move at the moment. He still wants to play for Barcelona. But, I mean, if Barca can convince the player to go, then immediately the release clause will be activated and 50 million euros will be paid to the Spanish football authorities, and Barca will be alerted of the payment, and then Dembele will be free to negotiate personal terms with PSG. So that is the news right there. So interesting things coming up. Let's see whether tomorrow or Sunday the buyout clause will be activated, and then we'll see if Dembele's move to PSG is going to be a reality or still going to be just a rumor as we have heard now. Also, moving on, we want to talk about Sadio Mane. That deal is almost coming to completion. Bayern Munich have verbally accepted 38 million euro offer from Al Nassr. Remember, Al Nassr, a team where Ronaldo is currently. They just signed Alex Telles. They are looking to sign Eric Bailly. They've signed Brozovic. They are now looking to add Sadio Mane to the host of European targets, which is good news for the Saudi Pro League. I'm not sure Mane's choice was to go to the Saudi League. He wanted to stay in Germany and play for Bayern, but Bayern Munich hierarchy told him that he is not in their plans tactically. He's not in the plans of the manager, and also they feel that he is out of form, and so it will be best for the two of them, both parties, if they part ways. So Sadio Mane, unfortunately, going to the Saudi Pro League. I don't know how else to say, but I think it's a bit unfortunate that a top talent like that is actually going to the Pro League, Saudi Pro League. So Sadio Mane to Al Nassr, almost done. So also at the camp of AC Milan, I told you that they were looking to sign the best, youthful talents in the Spanish league. That is the transfer philosophy or the project for the new management of AC Milan. They've gotten in Chikwueze. They've also gotten in Yunus Musa, youthful targets in the Spanish league. So Yunus Musa from Valencia, deal almost done for 18 million euros. Medical have been set. The player will fly to Milan to complete a deal very soon. So interesting deal right there. AC Milan are shoring up their ranks for the new season. So I mean, good news for the Milan fans right there. Also at the camp of Liverpool, I mentioned when I was talking about the deal for Romeo Lavia that Fabinho was almost leaving the club. Now the news coming in is that medical have just been completed. Fabinho flew to Saudi Arabia. Remember, he's been bought by a club, Al Ittihad. Is it Al Ittihad? Yeah, Al Ittihad. They paid 40 million euros for him, which is a lot of good money. So Liverpool immediately accepted the offer, and then Fabinho, of course, it was delayed because of issues with registering a few of his paperwork, work permit and stuff with his dogs, but all of them have been resolved finally, and so Fabinho has flown to Saudi to do medical at Al Ittihad. So deal almost done. It will be confirmed officially by the weekend. So Fabinho to Al Ittihad is a done deal from Liverpool's side. Also at the camp of Fulham. Now the news coming in is that Fulham have they are in the market for a winger. They are first make a deal with Chelsea. Remember, the deal was a bit difficult from the beginning because Hassan Odoi wasn't even sure whether the coach Marco Silva was going to stay. Remember, Marco Silva was a subject of interest from Al Hilal. They wanted a coach, and Al Hilal targeted Marco Silva. with a lot of money. They wanted to give him a 40 million euro offer for a 2-year deal, but it turned out that the manager has turned down that deal, decided to stay in North London with Fulham, and so currently that deal with Hudson Odoi has now been reignited, and it is thought that personal terms have now been agreed between Hudson Odoi and Fulham. Now, currently, Chelsea and Fulham are locked in negotiations to try and agree on a deal. Remember, Chelsea preferred to sell Hudson Odoi to a club abroad, but the player wants to stay in London. Like I said in my previous episode, Hudson Odoi prefers to stay in London. So he told Chelsea that they should negotiate with Fulham, because he wants to stay in North London. So the two clubs are still talking. If a deal is agreed, which is thought that a deal will be agreed very soon, then hopefully by next week, Hudson Odoi's move to Fulham will be confirmed. Also, I want to talk about Mauro Icardi. You remember this player had a very decent spell, but unfortunately, PSG wanted more from a striker, so they loaned him out to Galatasaray. Now, he was playing in Galatasaray for about 2 years on loan now, but finally they have actually, bought him for 10 million euros. Now, it's a permanent transfer, 10 million euro transfer, 3-year deal has been signed. So Mauro Icardi is finally, a Galatasaray player. Also at the camp of Adama Bojan, remember the Gambia international, the striker who went to they did very well at the African Under-20 tournament that took place in Egypt. Now they went to I think Argentina for the Under-20 World Cup tournament. He did very well. A lot of scouts were watching him. A lot of top clubs in Europe, were touted to be interested in him. But he and his management did a very smart move, and I want to commend his management for this smart move by signing for Reims, Stade Reims. Now, I mean, if you are a young African player, I mean, and a lot of Ghanaian players have made this mistake. I want to commend Adama Bojan because, it's not easy for an African player, a young talent, to go to a top club in Europe and succeed. So at such a young age, I mean, if you sign for Stade Reims, humble beginnings, you're going to get your playing time, you're going to get pressure off your shoulders, and then you're going to, find the right place and the balance, to develop well. And so Adama Bojan to Stade Reims, they've signed a 5-year contract. He's also signed a 3-year deal with Adidas. So it's all good for him. It's a smart move by the player because top clubs were looking for him. Juventus, AC Milan, Manchester United, Tottenham, and all. Some Portuguese clubs were in there, Benfica and the rest. But he chose Stade Reims, which is good. I mean, the French league is very favorable to young African talent. So, smart move for Adama Bojan right there. Also, I want to talk about the issue of it just came in late this evening that Chelsea have been hit with a 10 million euro fine for financial breach regulations by UEFA. It's thought to be just a normal punishment. You remember when Todd Boehly took over? I mean, when you are trying to buy a business, you have to do your financial, investigation, and then during the course of their normal financial investigation, they found out that between the period of 2012 and 2019. Chelsea financial statements is a sort of a breach of financial fair play. That's how they say it. So a normal fine of 10 million euros has been given to Chelsea. Now they are not going to suffer any ban of matches or games. It's just a fine that they've been given. Now mind you, Chelsea themselves reported a problem when Todd Boehly was about taking over the club. He found out that there was this financial incomplete financial statements that were made to UEFA, and he reported these incomplete financial statements to UEFA. And so, I mean, it's natural that UEFA will fine them, but it's thought to be just a fine. It will not affect their games. Mind you, Chelsea are not even playing in Europe this year, so just a 10 million euro fine for Chelsea for making incomplete financial statements to the UEFA's financial, I think it's UEFA Financial Club control body. So that's the news coming in. Also, at the camp of Juventus, unfortunately for Juventus, they are having a more stringent fine. They are suffering a more stringent fine. They've been fined 20 million euros and been banned from competing in the Conference League. Now, remember, Juventus were, accused of falsifying financial statements. I mean, theirs is more serious. They were falsified financial statements about certain sales that they made for the past 3 years. Now, this fine came in I think somewhere in January after the World Cup, and they were in the top 4, but they were initially deducted 17 points, and then they came back. UEFA came back with another fine and said that they are reducing the fine to rather 10 points. I think 10 or 7 points. So, I mean, they came up a bit on the league table, but they were unfortunately unable to qualify for the Champions League. And then now they were going to play in the Conference League. But now, new investigation, because it's an ongoing investigation. So, the new investigation that is coming out now has put another fine of 20 million euros on Juventus. Now, they are only going to pay, or they are only expected to pay 10 million euros of that 20 million euro fine. The rest of the 20 million euros is dependent on whether more financial mismanagement or financial falsification of information will be found from now to 2025. So it's an ongoing investigation, like I said. So the UEFA's financial control body is still doing an investigation into, the so-called financial mismanagement that, is going on, financial misrepresentation, financial falsification of information on sales of players. So it is not ended. They are going to keep doing more investigations, because if you falsify financial information, it will show up in later financial statements that you make. So currently, the fine is 10 million euros. They will pay an additional 10 million euros if it is found out that they falsified more documents. But currently, they are banned from playing in Europe. They are being replaced by Fiorentina. Fiorentina was, I think, seated on the table. So Fiorentina will play in the Conference League instead of Juventus. So bad news there for the Juventus fans. They are out of Europe. They are going to pay a 10 million euro fine plus another 10 million euros if they are found to be at fault from now till 2025. So that's at the camp of Juventus. Now, since we are talking about bans and UEFA and bans, let me conclude today's episode. It was supposed to be a ban on Barcelona for competing in the Champions League because of an ongoing investigation into the so-called Negreira case. You remember the Negreira, who used to be the president of Spanish Referees Association, was thought to have received some sort of financial payments from Barcelona, from previous presidents, to influence games. Now the investigation coming out from UEFA is that they have found no evidence as of now to prove that Barcelona paid referee Negreira to influence matches. Now, Barca, they are maintaining that yes, they did pay monies to Negreira, but those monies were to give Barca information on scouting information on young players in the league, and also to give them information, tactical information about some of the Spanish teams that they will be playing. So I guess maybe it's legal to do that. I don't know if you can pay a referee to give you scouting information on players. But according to UEFA, they find that it's normal. And so UEFA have cleared Barca of any wrongdoing. And so they are free to play in the Champions League. However, investigation at home is still ongoing. Mind you, at UEFA, they are not, they cannot abide UEFA law. They are not allowed to investigate cases that are more than 5 years old. So just like the Chelsea case, the Premier League will keep investigating Chelsea, because I told you that their financial, that financial breach that Todd Bowley, saw when he was investigating Chelsea's financial statement before he bought the club was between 2012 and 2019, which is more than 5 years ago. So UEFA legally are not obliged to investigate that that case. But the Premier League is currently investigating Chelsea for that financial incomplete statement that they gave to UEFA. The same case with Barcelona. The Spanish football authorities are investigating the Nigeria case. Mind you, all the clubs in the Spanish league wrote a letter to the Spanish authority, the Spanish league board, to try and sanction Barcelona. So the case is still, under investigation in Spain, but at UEFA, who are not, don't have any legal grounds to investigate cases beyond 5 years. Mind you, this Nigeria case has gone, started somewhere in 2009. So it goes way back. So the Spanish authorities are investigating the case, and then UEFA will take their own decisions based on the investigations of the Spanish league authorities. But currently, the UEFA are, telling Barcelona that we've not found any evidence of influencing games, and we cannot investigate this matter beyond 5 years. So you are off the leash. You are free to participate in the Champions League. So for now, it's good news for Barcelona. So, but let's hope that the Spanish investigation will not bring more debt on Barcelona. My last story for today and for the weekend is so the good news for Manchester United fans is that Mason Greenwood might actually now be cleared to play for Manchester United. The news coming in is that Greenwood, United have been in talks with Adidas. Remember, Adidas, is our main sponsor at the club. We are receiving 750 million euros from Adidas. We signed a contract about 3 years ago. It runs for the next 10 years. So, I mean, if Adidas, the news coming in is that Adidas are now willing to allow Mason Greenwood to play for the club. And it is thought that if Adidas is now willing to allow Greenwood to play, then other sponsors will not oppose Greenwood playing. Remember when I told you that Mason Greenwood's, ominous absence at the club is as a result of, sponsors not willing to allow Greenwood to come back because they feel Greenwood in the United shirt will hurt their brand. But currently, it is thought that Adidas, who is the main sponsor, is softening its stance on Greenwood coming back to the club. And it is thought that as Adidas are softening their hands on their grip or their stance on Greenwood, it means that other sponsors will also follow suit. And so very soon, we might be seeing a light at the end of the tunnel for Greenwood saga, and that hopefully maybe before the season starts, Greenwood will be able to put on the red shirt for Manchester United. So that is good news for all United fans. So let us hope that the good news is true, that investigations that the club is doing will come to an end, and that as Adidas is willing to have Greenwood back, other sponsors will be open to the idea, and Greenwood will be back playing for Manchester United. Thank you very much for staying with me today. Was a lot of stories, but I'll bring you more stories coming this Monday morning. So 1st of August. So stay tuned. If you like this video, please, I want you to like the video. Put in your comments. I want to see more comments from people who watch this video, and also subscribe to the channel. You will be alerted on every video that I upload on Pious Football. Thank you very much for staying with me. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.